Hey, 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 breakups, broken hearts, and moving on listeners. How are you? How are you doing this week? What is going on with your breakup? What is going on with your healing journey? As always, please be in touch to let me know. And please know that I am here to help. And I have a new ebook. You can get it in the show notes. Today is a really cool episode that I am double dropping. Part of my podcast network is another show called Sex and the Solo Girl. And while it is a sexier, spicier, racier podcast, I'm dropping a lot of episodes that have to do with dating, communication, becoming securely attached, and other things. Today's episode is on boy sober. It is a dating trend that has to do with taking a hiatus from dating. I thought that it would be great to drop here because I know a lot of you are single and maybe looking to do things differently before you get back in the dating pool. So here it is. I hope you enjoy it. And I am wishing you so much strength for the week ahead. When I took my hiatus from dating and sex, I almost like wore a couple of my toys completely down. I was getting it on the regular.
Welcome to Sex and the Solo Girl. Join your host, her inner circle, and expert guests weekly for chats about dating, secure attachment, the solo lifestyle, doing relationships differently, and of course, sex. And here's your host, Janice Formichella.
Boy sober. It is one of the hot topics this summer. It is one of the dating trends. Is it Gen Z or millennials who are really taking this up? Regardless, that's what Julie and I are here to talk about this week. Hello, Julie Demsey, one of my favorite guest co-hosts. What is up? How is Sydney?
Hey, it's so good to be here, Janice. I always have so much fun doing these. And Sydney's great. We're getting warm. It almost feels like it's summer here today, even though it's still winter.
It is not, but I'm glad that it's going well for you. It's warm here in Denver as well. And I love having my friends down under come on. I lived there for 5 years. And so it really warms my heart to stay connected with you and Jesse in New Zealand. Julie, you suggested doing boy sober. Is it just because it's a hot topic or is there something personal? Why did you want to cover this week?
I think because it's a hot topic and we should all be talking about it. I think it's really an important topic. I think it's a trendy saying, right? But there's so many reasons why this can be a good thing. It could also potentially be a bad thing. I think I think it's an important topic to talk about, to kind of define what it is and why it's relevant right now.
I think that women and men can benefit from taking a break from dating, sex, and whatnot. It does kind of tickle me pink to see that now we have an expression for it or a term for it, especially because I did boy sober for a number of years. My life was completely changed because of intentionally taking a break from dating, sex, romance, and all of that. I think that you know a little bit more about the origins of this. I have been following it, but how did this come about, just kind of in a nutshell?
There was a comedian who just started talking about it, posted a TikTok and laid out what are the rules of being boy sober, which was a term she came up with some girlfriends when they were out one night.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah, and so it's just taken over. Doing research for this episode, her TikTok seems to be in every article, in every magazine,
Yeah.
Bar, Cosmo, every newspaper, The Guardian,
Yeah.
the Washington Post. It's everywhere, right? And I think it's interesting because you said, you've been boy sober at periods where you've taken a break. And you said, is this a Gen Z or millennial? And I think that's exactly what it is. I think these younger women are calling this boy sober, whereas people in my age range, and I think even yours, would have called this or taking a break from dating, to take time out for myself.
Mhm.
So whatever you want to call it, it's an important thing to do for you mentally, emotionally. And
We
so
would have said that I was doing me, or do you is definitely what I would have said. And yes, I don't think ever publicly disclosed how long my boy sober was, but it was multiple years. And again, the best thing I ever, well, not the best thing I've ever did. It helped me a lot. It was one of the best things that I did. And we are talking about Hope Woodard. I don't really know much about her, but okay. So what does boy sober mean? Like we just said, it's an intentional dating cleanse. Going off of the apps. I'm not going to say being celibate, because this is not being celibate. It's really been annoying me actually that everyone's using that word, but it's just like focusing on yourself, not trying to date, not looking for romance, and just yeah, kind of coming back to yourself.
yeah,
No hookups, nothing. Did I miss anything?
I think it's interesting. One point that Hope said about this was, yeah, like you said, it's no dating, no hookups, no exes. And the thing that really struck me was she said, no thinking about men or boys, getting
Okay.
them outside of your brain space. And to me, that's a really interesting and important one because, as we've both worked with clients in the dating space and getting over relationships, it's hard to get somebody out of your mind. And to
Mhm.
do a true cleanse, she's saying, we are not thinking about exes. We're not thinking about potential love interests. We're not thinking about the one who got away. We have a clear mind. And I think it's can be difficult for some to get to that point. I know I've struggled with that on and off.
Okay.
And she had actually said in her post, she said, I can't believe how much of my mind space has been taken up
Hmm.
by this kind of thought over the period of my life. And as somebody who's much older than she has, I've had a lot of my mind space taken up by that, even when I don't want it to be,
Hmm.
right? And so I think that's an important part of it is that we are getting back to who we are. We are focusing on ourselves. We're not giving any type of potential love interest, past or future, any space in our brain. We are focusing purely on ourselves, how we want to be. This is a great time to think about where did I go wrong in the past? What could I do differently? How can I get rid of any kind of dating or emotional traumas I might have had? And really focusing in on how do I want to do this differently and better if and when I decide to jump back into the dating pool.
It reminds me a lot of my own experience. I've always been a dater. I've always had men in my life. It's something that I've enjoyed from, I guess, a young age. I was in Australia, and I had kind of like one relationship after another that started out really hot and heavy and then kind of blew up in my face, to be honest. And after my last one, it really, really impacted my life. There was like social tension. We had a lot of friends in common. I was really in love with him, I have to admit. And so when it fell apart, I just thought, you're doing something wrong. Like there's some you don't know how to do this. You're like, none of your relationships are working out. And I said to myself, you got to just stop. Stop. You can't do this anymore. And it came just a short time before I also realized that my visa was never going to happen. I was probably never going to get residency. Nothing was working out as far as living permanently in Australia went. And I really needed to focus on what was I going to do. I've lived here for 5 years. Now I have to go back to America where I have few ties, no job, etc. And I definitely did find that not having men in my life and not trying to date, not even thinking about wanting that. And I did get to the point where I didn't even want it. I was able to, first of all, take complete responsibility and ownership over all of the past mistakes that I'd made and over the fact that so many things had not worked out for me, and just really hone in on the fact that I am responsible for my relationships, for my future, for my well being, for my circumstances, for my financial stability. And that was a big eye opener for me. And then also just like the practicalities of life. How am I going to save enough money to get back to the States? What am I going to do when I get there? And I was like laser focused. It did a lot for me. So that was about the first year. And then I was so content after the first year and just had so many realizations about myself and found myself again and remembered different hobbies and things that I liked that I had kind of forsaken for so long. So by the end of the first year, I am like, this is great. I just completely stopped even thinking about dating. And 1 year turned into a couple more. And it was, yeah, one of the best times of my life, to be perfectly honest. After the first or second year, then you just realize that you're completely okay without it. And then when I got to the point where I was open for it again, it was easier to date because I knew what I wanted. I knew what I didn't want. I was able to see the red flags. I was so confident knowing that I was going to be okay either way. And it added much more to my life rather than completing it. And also, I have to say, as far as drama goes in relationships, it has been cut down to almost none. Yes, I have had some breakups, and I had a breakup about a year and a half ago that was pretty shitty. I have to say, I was pretty bummed that that didn't work, and had a couple weeks of. I was sad. I was disappointed, but as far as relationship drama goes, like practically none, really. And when I was like up to that point of taking or being boy sober, it was just constant drama. Even in relationships that I felt were healthy, it was just one thing after another. And that's been completely removed from my romantic life.
Ah, I love that speech for you. That is so good. And that's, I think, why a lot of these young women are going for boy sober, because a lot of the research showed that people were feeling, these women, young women were feeling like the dating apps were creating kind of a cesspool.
Yeah, let's talk about that. A lot of the articles talked about dating apps. I
Yeah.
feel like I want to push back on that because I do think that it is possible to have a good experience on the apps. I haven't used them for a little bit. I have used them. I was on them maybe less than 2 years ago. I have friends who are on them, clients who are on them. I don't think that it's all toxic, but maybe Julie, you can speak to this.
Yeah, it's not all toxic.
Okay.
However, the way the dating apps are set up really actually support bad behavior.
Okay.
Because they don't stop it, right? And what happens is people get so used to there's an endless supply, I'll just go to the next one. They get very laissez-faire about making a decision to actually stick with somebody and commit, or even follow through on actions. I've spoken with so many people who've, like, gorgeous, amazing young women and older women who've shown up for a date only to have them not show up, who've
Oh my God.
had people break connections, all of these different things. And the thing that to know is that even if we're confident, it still takes a hit to our confidence. It still feels bad to have these things happen. And I think the dating apps just facilitate more opportunity for connection. So it's happening more often, right?
Okay.
And so I think the whole thing about boy sober is saying, you know what? I don't want to deal with that bullshit. My love partner. I don't want to deal with that bullshit right now. That's not good for me. And I'm just going to take a break from it and really focus in on, like you said, what are the hobbies I've been getting away from? You know, how can I spend better quality time with my friends? How can I spend better quality time on my own? We did an episode before about dating yourself,
Yes.
right? And this ties into that as well. How do I get really strong in being my own person? Because I think even in our modern society, girls are still being raised to be picked, to attract a partner,
Yes.
and feel like they need to do something. So you see these young women, and I'm talking about like even like on reality dating shows, you see these young women who are like so sexed up and so sex pot. And I think it's performative because they think that's what they need to be. And I think boy sober is the antithesis of that, saying, you know what? I don't need to do that because I think that's what's going to attract a boy. I'm going to do me. I'm going to get really strong in myself, mentally and emotionally. I'm going to get really strong in who I want to be. And I'm not going to start dating again until I feel that inner confidence and I feel really strong, just the way you described. And then I can go into this ready to meet that person who's going to meet me at that same level.
And confident as well, which is the sexiest quality that you can have when you are trying to meet someone. It reminds me a couple of years ago, I think that the catchphrase would have been decentering men, which I've also done some content around. And it's similar, and it's making yourself the center of your universe rather than your partner or the search for a partner. And I think it's a really great thing for women, and it could be a great thing for men. So why aren't we talking about just dating sober or girl sober? Why is it boy sober and not girl sober? What do you think? This really troubled me, actually. And I wanted to see if there was something similar that men are maybe saying that they're doing. So I did go and I Googled a number of things like boy sober versus girl sober. Oh, and I even put in why isn't it girl sober? Nothing came up except for dating women, like actual sobriety, like alcohol and drug sobriety. So I don't know. Is this sexist? Is this problematic? What do you think?
I think it has to do with our general internal makeup as males and females. Men aren't likely to go out and go, "Hey, bro, I'm going girl sober."
No.
Right? They're not talking about these things. And I did actually find one TikTok where there was a guy who was trying out girl sober. And it really comes back to that is women are more likely to get together with their friends and have a talk about this and say, this is what I'm going through. This is how it's working for me. Whereas guys would just simply take a break and maybe be introspective about it, maybe not, right? In my age group, I've met a lot of men who have taken a break after their divorce or whatever it is. And then I've met plenty of men who, like, the time isn't even really over on the relationship. Like, literally, it's just closed and they're out dating again. I think that happens more for men in general than women, because especially in an older age range, because they want that interaction, that companionship. And I could be wrong, but that's been my experience in terms of dealing with personal life as well as with clients, people I've interviewed and spoken with, where men just don't necessarily take that introspection time as much after a breakup. So that could be what it is. And again, I think boy sober is a catchy phrase.
Yeah, it's cute. It is.
And I think that's why we're talking about it. That's why it's hit the media, right?
And I think women have always taken breaks from dating. It's what I encourage pretty much all of my clients to do. We've always done it. I guess it is great that it's more in the consciousness and the zeitgeist. And so women can be more encouraged to do this. And so that is something that I think is a great outcome of the trend.
And men should be as well. Yeah. I mean, really what this comes down to is forget the catchy phrase. It's all about taking time for me to heal from past relationships, to heal from any past trauma, anything from my childhood that's residually and showing up in my relationships, taking the time to heal from that, to figure out who I am, what I want, how I want to be the center of my own life and in control, so I can show up and be the person I want to be and meet the person I want to meet. That's at that same level. That's really at the basis what this is all about.
And being okay with yourself, which I definitely want to talk about dating yourself a little bit more. And everyone go to the show notes, because How to Date Yourself was on Breakups, Broken Hearts, and Moving On. And it was a very, very popular episode this year. I also, so this, you bring up a good point. I think that probably everybody who would decide to take a break or go boy sober would likely be doing so because things aren't working out for them.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And like if we wanted to take away the catchy phrase, it would be dating sober or relationship
Yes,
sober.
thank
We
you.
give
Yes, we
everybody,
are
right?
inclusive here. Everybody, regardless sexual orientation, gender, everybody can benefit from this for sure. And it does give us the opportunity to look at our patterns, our habits, the things that we are playing out over and over again, and look at them and take responsibility for them and decide a new way of doing things.
Exactly. And, I'll share a little bit personally that I am great in helping clients with this.
Okay.
Not as great at doing it myself,
All
right?
right,
So
tell
I
us.
worked through all of these things. And recently I started dating a guy and realized in hindsight, I fell into the same flippin' pattern again.
Oh my God, I have to share something. Okay, go on, go on.
And it's like, how can I, when I help so many other people do this, when I'm fully aware of what's going on, fully aware of my patterns, and I do the same stupid thing again?
Uh,
And so at the moment, I am once again boy sober
yeah.
because I need to take some time to figure out how did I allow myself to have this happen again? I am so ready to, I've had long-term relationships, I've had a marriage, I thought I processed all of this. And I'm so ready to find an amazing man for an amazing relationship. And I would love that to happen now. However, I realize that if I allow this to happen once again, there's some more introspection I need to do. So I need to spend a little time being boy sober myself right now.
Thank you so much for that. And I have a very, very similar experience slash story. I took such a long break from dating, a year in Australia, and then I moved to Denver and stayed boy sober for even a couple more years. And it was during the pandemic too, which I have to say I was really, really grateful that I had already taken a year off of dating, because then when it hit, I was just fine. I was thrilled as could be to, be my best company and be trapped in my own house with myself. And as I said, the longer and longer I went, I really enjoyed it. I have to say, I'm very highly sexual. I do enjoy the company of a man, but I was just cool. So then I got to the point where I'm kind of like, okay, I'm meeting more and more people. I'm kind of feeling like it might happen. I met someone who I was highly attracted to, my type, which we've also talked about that. And maybe we'll talk more about how going boy sober can help you kind of reevaluate what your type is and what your priorities are. Anyways, we started dating and I did the exact same thing. I realized how susceptible I was to the same exact type of courtship practices, I suppose. I've always been susceptible to love bombing. Always. I love to be spoiled. I love the flattery. And I realized really quickly, like, wow, I took all of this time off and I'm just falling for it again. And it was, like I said, eye-opening, humbling. It took a lot out of me. Like I wouldn't say I felt defeated, but I just thought like, wow, some of these things are like really ingrained in you as far as like what makes you feel good. But I caught it right away. I have to say, this was not a relationship that I stayed in long term at all. And it was also great practice. It was a wonderful thing to self reflect on. Why is this what gets me going so much?
Yeah.
But it was only because I took such a long break from dating that I was able to recognize it and even want to self reflect on it.
And as you were speaking, I was thinking I wanted to bring out the point that we should both congratulate ourselves
Yeah.
because while we did fall back into a past pattern, we also both recognized it much quicker, got out of it much quicker, and moved on. And so there is some insight and learning that goes along with it. So it's not like we failed. We continued to learn and grow. And it just takes sometimes, it's 3 steps forward and 1 step back.
And going, I'm sorry, I keep on laughing. Going boys sober, taking a break will definitely help you to do that. And I was going to say something else and I forgot. Yeah.
Well,
Anyways.
you used the word before, cleanse, right?
Mhm.
And that's really what it is. It's a cleansing, and it's getting back to yourself and prioritizing yourself. All these things are so important to being your best self.
It is, yes. And I think I've actually walked away from a couple other not quite for me
Yeah.
situationships or relationships, and it was easier, and I felt even happy afterwards that I had done it, and just kind of landing with myself and just thinking also like that was a fun experience. That didn't really work out, but now I have a couple stories. I wouldn't say that I was devastated. I was pretty bummed out when I broke up with my last boyfriend, but like I said, it was a negative experience. Like we had this huge fight, but I mean, I woke up the next morning like it's gonna be okay. That
Yep.
was sad, and I'm going to LA and I'm seeing my girls. And 2 weeks later, I'm bouncing down the street as happy as can be.
Yeah.
I really go ahead.
I was just going to say, I just want to really emphasize that again for the listeners, right? That if you find yourself having done this reflection and taken this period of time, and you get back into something again that isn't perfect, don't beat yourself up.
Yes,
Realize
please.
that you've learned and that you've done better than you did before, because that's all we can do. And sometimes it takes those baby steps to get to the right place and the right relationship, or decide that, hey, I'm perfectly fine on my own without a relationship for a very extended period of time.
I totally agree, and I promise you, if you take a break from dating, you will realize that life is too short. If you're totally fine on your own and going and doing all of these things, which I want to talk about shortly, you will so continue to tell yourself that you are fine and you were fine before you met this person. And so therefore, who has time for a dysfunctional relationship or simply a relationship that doesn't light you up and get you excited? You'll walk away from it so much easier and you will be just fine.
100%.
So let's do it. Before we take a very quick commercial break, Julie has a really, really cool business, and she has some very, very unique talents and a skill set that has helped a lot of people. It's helped me. Julie, can you let people know what you do in a nutshell and where you would like them to go and find you?
Sure. I am a rapid results mindset coach and hypnotherapist, and I help people to get over any kind of traumas, anxiety. If you feel like there's something that's just kind of blocking you and you're not quite sure what it is, I help you remove that block and level up. And I love the work that I do. Get great results, and again, do it very rapidly. And sometimes in one hypnotherapy session, also with the coaching, I help both personal life, business, relationships, all of it. And you can find me at juliedemsey.com, spelled DEMSEY. And my socials, that's my website, and my socials are the same on Instagram and Facebook. So
I've worked with Julie. As some people listening may know, I am estranged from my family of origin. Julie really, really helped me through that. I am really grateful for, the opportunity to work with you. It's helped me. Man, that must have been like over a year ago that we did that.
Time flies. Yeah.
I know. Yeah, it was really wonderful. If you are feeling stuck dating, stuck after a breakup, feeling like things aren't not quite working out for you, please, please, please be in touch with her. I promise you that it will help. And she is the author of a really cool book. Come on, girl, let's mention it. I'm going to put this in the show notes. This is an awesome book for people who want to get inspired and motivated about dating, have a couple laughs. And she gives some pretty cool tips as far as going out and intentionally meeting people. What is it called?
So the book is called Found, Swiping Right on Me to Find Love. And it can be found on all your online bookstores in paperback or e-reader like Kindle version as well.
Cool. Absolutely love it. Please go to the show notes, click on it, and buy it. We're going to take a quick commercial break. And when we come back, we're just going to dive in a tiny bit more as far as how you can benefit from it and a little word or two about celibacy. I am passionate about the opportunity that a breakup gives us for a fresh start, but it can sure be hard to see that when you're heartbroken, right? I have worked with people all around the world to beat their breakups with my own 3-part process. I've created an ebook that guides readers through each step using practical advice straight from an experienced breakup coach. Click on the link at the top of the show notes and get your copy of the Broken Heart Repair Kit, the 3-step method for beating your breakup, at my special Sex and the Solo Girl release price of just $24.99. And remember, you've got this. Welcome back, everyone. What a fun conversation. I think that this is really cool, especially because in North America, it's summer and a lot of people really want to make the most out of this season. I say, if you aren't dating, just pass on it for the rest of the summer. If you're in North America, just do you. And one of the reasons is, and this is absolutely something that I gained from taking a break from dating, is honestly, I had so many more new life experiences than I really was having before. I got really, really into solo travel. I got really, really into like exploring areas on foot. I mean, these were things, I did so many things without waiting around for someone, and also so many things that honestly, I don't think that I'd want a romantic partner to do with me, or that a romantic partner would want to do with me. Some people from breakups, broken hearts, and moving on may know that I have this obsession kind of with Tombstone, Arizona. The first time that I went to Tombstone was during this hiatus from dating. Nobody wants to go there with me. I don't want anyone to go there with me, though I am dating someone now who I'm reconsidering this. And so, I mean, that was wonderful. I'm not sure if I was with someone when I first decided to go there, which was Christmas 3 or 4 years ago. I can't say for sure that I would have even thought to go and do that, honestly, because I probably would have been making plans with my partner, which is absolutely wonderful. But I'm just saying, during this time, my life and my world and the possibilities for me were just thrown open. And I'm really thankful for that, because now that's how I live. I don't wait around for somebody, and it is such a wonderful lifestyle.
Yeah. So waiting around. Okay. Everybody who's listening to this, I want you to be honest with yourself. How many days or evenings out of your life did you end up not doing anything because you were leaving that space open for somebody else, hoping they would call you, hoping you would have a date? Right? Add all of those up and think about what Janice just said and all of the different things you could have been doing. And we can't change the past, but we can change the future.
Yes. And it can be really, really fun. I mean, think of anywhere that you would like to go. Oh, in the beginning of my voiceover / dating hiatus / taking a break, within the first year, maybe even the first 6 months, you're going to love this, because I took what is probably one of my favorite solo trips ever. And that is that I flew to Hobart for the weekend. I had this chance to go, and I just took it, got on the plane and went, planned it out. It was so fancy. It was so much fun. And it really got me hooked on solo travel forever. I mean, I went so far as to make a reservation for one person, like on a Thursday night. You don't need to make a reservation in Hobart on a Thursday night. But I got there. They knew exactly who I was. They had the whole table waiting. They had like this glass of champagne. It was this gorgeous view. And I remember, I feel a little emotional. I remember just sitting there looking at the view with this lovely drink and just thinking, this is how you live. This is what you do. And how cool that I'm just here doing it.
Yeah. So I also took a solo trip to Hobart. during one of my dating hiatuses, and went to amazing restaurants and dined on my own. And I loved sitting at the counter. And I ended up sitting next to this young girl who was traveling here from the US. And we ended up talking. And by the end of the meal, we were sharing desserts. And the whole staff at the restaurant was like, how cool is this? And I could have been sitting home waiting for that phone call, or I could have gotten on that plane and gone and created these wonderful experiences. So, yeah.
Shout out to Hobart. And
Yeah.
I have to say, I was raised in the LDS church. It's very much about finding a relationship, very much about dating, getting married as young as possible. And I do remember when I was going to BYU, sitting there and sometimes not having a date for the weekend and feeling like an absolute failure. And I think that maybe some people can still relate to it. And just imagine getting to the weekend and not even thinking about having a date, but just thinking about all the things that you already have planned for yourself. Yes, honestly, I love my life, and I don't think I would have it without having taken that break. We touched on this, but I really do want to emphasize again, if you are taking a break, sit down and think about what you actually want, your needs, wants, desires, roadblocks, all the cliches. This will definitely help you write it down. You are going to need it. So there's another part about boy sober that we haven't quite touched on, but that is in all of the literature and media about this, and that is sex. No hookups, no relationships, no one-night stands. And a lot of people are referring to it as celibacy, which it is not. But I would like to talk about what taking a temporary break from sex can teach us, what celibacy versus taking a break actually is. Julie, do you want to start out? Because I've got some ideas. I have always been a little sheepish about sharing this publicly, but I think, as I alluded to, when I took this break, I didn't have sex the entire time. And it got easier and easier. Looking back, I think it's kind of crazy because I really can't get enough sex now. But honestly, it was so therapeutic for me. What do you want to say about taking a break from sex?
Well, first of all, I mean, celibacy is a lifetime vow of no sex with others or yourself.
Oh, okay. So this is okay.
Right?
Interesting. Yeah.
And so I think there's a distinction we need to make between having sex with somebody else and having sex with yourself.
Thank you.
You can be boy sober and masturbating.
I hope so.
Right?
Yeah, I would say yes. Go for it. Learn about yourself.
It's not a lack of sex. It's a lack of sex with someone else. And again, like you just said, this is a good time to take some time to experiment with yourself and figure out what you like and what your desires are, so you can communicate that if and when you decide to play with somebody else.
I want to interject really quickly and say that when I took my hiatus from dating and sex, I almost like wore a couple of my toys completely down. I was getting it on the regular, and I loved it. Oh my God, I had such satisfying orgasms and experience several times a week. Honestly, it was great for me.
Yeah, well, and that's why I think it's important to say that boy sober doesn't mean no sex with yourself. It just means no sex with others. And that's is an important part of life for some. And if you want to be celibate and not experience any of that too, that's a choice you make as well, right? But as you were saying, when you're eliminating that, we do literally have chemicals in our brain that change when we get sexual with somebody else. And it creates a level of connection that even if we think we can stop, we can't. It is a physical change. And so that is why that is part of being boy sober in terms of no hookups or anything else. Because the whole idea of boy sober is keeping our mind space to ourselves, on ourselves.
And this is a fully exclusive show and episode, but I have to say, my experience with female girlfriends, maybe myself, though it has been just such a long time since I lived that way. It's sometimes hard when you're having physically intimate experiences with somebody to completely compartmentalize for a lot of women. Let's just be honest. I had a friend once tell me that as soon as she orgasms with a man, that she knows that she, feels bonded, and then starts getting kind of obsessed. It can be difficult to just have it just be the sexual experience and nothing more.
But it is physiologically built into us,
Okay.
because as women, when we mate with men, we can become pregnant. And the idea is we want to have the connection with the father, right? So we might not be planning for that, but our reptilian brains and our, brains from years and years ago still are programmed to think that way and believe that's the connection we need. So we start feeling this connection, even if we say, oh no, it's just sex, there's still this primitive connection being formed.
Sure. Yes. And I think that if you really wanted to compartmentalize, you would have to really train yourself to do that over time. And that is not what this is about. I also think, like, let's just be honest, if you are completely abstaining, and this is abstinence, it's not celibacy, it's abstinence. If you are abstaining, you're going to probably have less drama in your life. Just saying. And that's, I think, another really good consequence of boy sober is less complications, less drama. Just do you. And also something that came up in my research for our female listeners that might interest some of you is, why not take a break from birth control? I think that might help some people. I haven't taken a break for many years. I have the implant, which I love, but that might be kind of a nice break to shed yourself of that. Also, okay, I think that when it comes to self-pleasure, some people may not even really be that experienced. If you can learn how to really embrace self-pleasure, this is something that's going to serve you like the rest of your life, with an inside and outside of relationship. So I would say, really try to learn about that. Okay, what is the difference between boy sober and celibate? I love Married at First Sight. And it is because Married at First Sight has so much to do, and it highlights so much the different ways that people communicate with each other. That is what I love the most about it. And it is jarring to see how ill-equipped some people are, and it really bums me out too. But anyways, in the last season that I watched, they kept on talking about how one of the husbands was celibate because he hadn't had sex in a year, and everybody kept on calling him celibate, and it kind of bummed me out. I have to say, because I've just, the way that they were saying it was not really like lifting this guy up. I don't know. I don't like the term. I really think that we need to do away with it. It doesn't feel empowering to me. It doesn't feel like someone's being, intentionally looking at themselves. I almost feel like when someone says that they're celibate, or when you say someone else is celibate, it's like it's happening to them almost.
I've got this quizzical look on my face right now because
you do, yes.
I think of celibacy. I think of somebody from a church taking
totally
celibacy for life, right? And I'm not sure if you're referring to the American version of Married at First Sight, but I don't think I've seen this version.
I do watch exclusively, yes, the American version. I forgot also that there was Australian. Yeah.
Yeah, there is. Very fascinated by it as well because of the human dynamics and the lack of the experts to actually help these couples. But that aside, I wonder if this man was celibate for a year, or if, to me, celibacy, if you're going to even use that word, it's, I made a choice not to have sex for a year for a certain reason. I do believe celibacy is a longer period of time, but if you want to use it in that context, it's okay. However, very often I hear people saying, oh, I've been celibate for 2 years, and that's not a conscious choice they make. It was just that they didn't have access to a sexual experience, and that is not celibacy.
By the end of the season, it did become quite apparent why this man had not had a relationship or sex for quite a while. Yes, yeah, you're absolutely right. Thank you for saying that. It was not intentional on his part.
Yeah.
So Elle says, what is the difference between boy sober and celibate? I thought that this was great. While celibacy, which denotes giving up sex and marriage entirely, has roots in purity and control, going boy sober is about women taking back the power in heterosexual relationships. I think in all relationships, but I like that. It's being intentional, taking the power, taking the reins in your life and in your relationships. Not centering men, as I was saying earlier, centering your own life. And
again, this shouldn't have to do with men or women. We should all be the center of our life.
That's not how a lot of us are programmed. I mean, I still hear today so many men and women saying that the relationship is the one thing missing from their lives, and it's the one thing that they're really wanting. And it is, I think, kind of unfortunate. And a relationship and a person does not complete.
No.
And a person is not a Band-Aid for any void that you feel in your life. And frankly, like, how would you feel if someone was dating you to fill a void in their life? I wouldn't like that. I would think that was kind of gross.
If I had my way, everybody in this world would come to a place where they were so good with themselves that they weren't saying the one thing missing is a relationship. They would say the one thing I would like to add to my life is a relationship. And I will only add it if it adds value to my life.
There's another trend as far as the high value woman goes, which some good things, some problematic things, but I kind of like it in the sense that a lot of us are saying we are great and we deserve the best and we're going to go out and get it. And maybe a topic for another episode, but yes, absolutely love it. We've talked about a lot of the benefits of boy sober, taking a break, decentering men, taking a dating hiatus. So how do we do it? Is it just a matter of going off the apps? How can we be intentional about doing it and making it stick? Julie made a good point in our outline about the length of time. I personally think that it's good to set a goal. A lot of people know that I'm a proponent of the no contact rule after a breakup. I think that giving yourself some sort of a goal or parameter can sometimes keep you motivated. I'm a really big fan of 30-day challenges. I'm currently doing 2 30-day challenges. One is an abundance ritual, and I'm on day 19. I'm kicking it. And then I'm also doing a 30-day squats challenge. So committing to a length of time works for me, at least as a starting point. What do you think?
I think it depends on the individual, right? And I think sitting down and being intentional and saying today is the day that I'm starting. And whether you're somebody who likes to journal and write things down or somebody who likes to just kind of think about it and ponder, just be really intentional about what it is you're doing, why you want to do it, and what you want to get out of it, and how you want to make yourself the center of your life during this period of time. Going into it, to me, with some intentionality and saying today is the first day. And whether you're somebody who says, I need a 30-day challenge, or somebody who likes to cross every day off on the calendar and say, I'm going to go to when I feel full and ready to start again. I don't think there's a prescribed amount of time. I think every individual is going to know when it is. And by the way, if you say I'm going to go a year, and then you intentionally, maybe you've developed a friendship with somebody in that period of a year, and all of a sudden it turns into something else and you're 9 months in, rather than just going for it, take the time to say, okay, am I ready to end my boy sober period now? Right? Just be really intentional about when you're stepping into it and why, and when you're stepping out of it and why.
and really pat yourself on the back. I think that this is a wonderful thing to commit to, and not something that everybody does so intentionally. So I think this is a really great opportunity to kind of reorganize your life. And so I would say, like, take full advantage of that. Set yourself up with new routines, new habits, so that when you come out of Boy Sober, your life really has taken on, a new shape, and you can be really proud of it, and you can enjoy it regardless of what you decide to do next. That was another thing that I really gained from it, is I had so much more mind space. And I did start to think, what are other ways that I can improve my life? I started, a diet that I still have to this day, morning practices that I still have to this day, because I just had more time and space to think about these things.
I love it. Perfect.
And Julie and I are really good at this one. Date yourself. It's one thing to go off the apps and decide that you're not going to date, you're not going to look, you're not going to have sex, but what are you going to do instead? You can learn to be your own best company. This is the time to, date yourself. Do you want to give any tips or insight into that?
Yeah. Consciously take time to do things you want to do, and make a date for yourself. Put it in your calendar. Buy yourself flowers. Get dressed up. Do the things that you want to do. Don't put them off. Just really figure out what is going to make me happy today, and put yourself on a date doing that.
Yes, it's one of still my secrets to success and just general happiness. I always have something to look forward to in my life. And I am dating. I do have a wonderful social network, but even if I don't have plans, there's still something that I always am, like I said, looking forward to. Go and do new things. I am sure everybody listening has something in their mind that they've always wanted to do, a place they've always wanted to go, a trip, any number of things. Just, this is your chance to train yourself or to learn how to go and do these things without anybody else. And I will say, yes, we're talking about Boy Sober, not dating, but use this also as an opportunity to go and also do things on your own without friends. Go and do things regardless of who is coming with you. It's great to have company, but learning how to go and do things on your own will serve you for the rest of your life.
Absolutely.
This has been a very fun chat. Who is going Boy Sober out there? Please get in touch with Julie and I on Instagram, and let us know. I'm really fired up about this, and I would like to see what the results are going to be worldwide. And also, is the next trend going to be everybody coming out of this and getting boy drunk? I mean, is this going to be cyclical? I don't know.
I hope that if that's what it is with great intention and joy.
I hope so too.
Strong in ourselves and who we are.
Yeah. Oh, completely. And going at it from a place of putting yourself first.
Excellent.
All right. I think I'll leave it at that. Thank you to everybody who is here today. Thank you to everybody who is joining me on both platforms. Thank you to everybody who followed me over to Sex and the Solo Girl. I just really appreciate it. I am having such a blast as a content creator these days. And thank you, Julie, for being here. We're going to be doing more episodes. We're about to talk about something pretty juicy that's going to be coming up soon. Everybody go have a fun week, whether you're celibate or not. And I'll see you soon. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to Sex and the Solo Girl with Janice Formichella, the podcast for those who want to add more flavor to their relationships with themselves and others. If you liked today's episode, make sure to head over to Instagram and let her know. See you next week.